Well, good evening, guys. This is Nico, also known as Miss Rise and Grind, and I just want to welcome you to tonight's webinar. If you registered, then you already read the title, and the title for tonight's webinar is Don't Let Your 9 to 5 Convict You of 30 to Life. Now, some of you might be wondering, what do I mean by that? Let's think about statistics. Usually people graduate college, some don't go to college, but they get a decent job or a good job. And you work 30 to 40, some 50, even 60 years just to retire to then want to live a good life. But how good of a life are you living after putting in 40 to 50 years of hard labor? So the purpose of this webinar is to get you to expand your mind, to expand your thought process, and to realize that you don't have to stay content or stay in your 9 to 5 and work those 40 to 50 years just to earn your first true vacation. You don't have to work 30, 40, 50 years to be able to decide how long you want to take a vacation. Because let's be serious about this. How many days or weeks do you actually get from your job? Now, granted, I got lucky because I chose to go into the profession of teaching, so we get summers off. But then if you flip it on the other side and you think about salary wise, most teachers, if not all teachers, take on summer jobs or have second jobs that they've probably been working the entire school year because their salary is not able to provide them with the life they truly want to live. So tonight we're going to discuss some things that should help us to open our minds and realize that what we choose in our lives is our choice. You can choose to stay content and continue to work a 9 to 5, or you can sit down and say, you know what? The things that I desire and the things that I want out of life are so much more than a 9 to 5. Let me sit down and plan and figure out a way that I can earn what I'm worth in less than 30, 40, or 50 years. And I can start to live the dreams and the desires that I would like in my life today. So let me give you some background about me. My name is Nico Washington. I am currently a physical education and health teacher at Jefferson Houston Elementary School, which is located in Alexandria. And the road hasn't been easy. I can say that I've been blessed, but it hasn't been easy. And one of the main reasons why I chose this topic for tonight is because I'm living proof that you can commit yourself to 30 to life if you don't change your mindset and you don't fight for what you want. When I grew up, I was taught the basic things. You go to school, you get a degree, you get a job. And by the grace of God, I was able to do those things in that order. I went to school, I graduated with a degree, and 3 days after graduation, I was able to walk into my very first full-time job. So it was awesome. I felt like I had accomplished something great, not only because I was the first grandchild to graduate college, but because that was the American dream. The American dream is to go to college, get a degree, and get a job. And of course, following that is your house, your white picket fence, your 2.5 kids, a dog, cat, maybe a fish or a turtle, whatever life you choose. But that was the American dream. But now, in 2015, the American dream has changed. Not everybody wants to be married with 2.5 kids and a big house with a white picket fence. Not everybody has that dream. So, what are you doing in your mindset or in your life today that's getting you towards your dreams? Because what I've noticed about myself in these last 10 to 12 years is that dreams do change. And that's a good thing because initially I was in it just for money. I just wanted to get a job, get paid so I could do the regular things, buy a car, buy a house, spend money, go on trips, do whatever I want to do. But life is not always that easy. And if you're working a 9 to 5 that doesn't pay you what you're worth, then you're not enjoying that lifestyle anyway. Unless you're scrounging pennies, you're putting away $100 every 2 weeks to eventually get enough money to even pay for a trip. Because most of us don't have those types of jobs where you can get paid, take off for 2 weeks if you choose, and just go and do whatever you want. So that's why we're here today. So I got my first teaching job. It was awesome. I was working with middle school students at Gwen Park Middle School, and it was one of the best first experiences as a teacher I've ever had, besides doing my student teaching. But life happened. So the first dilemma for me was you had to pass the praxis. Now, it's not that I didn't try, and I'm sure that some of you are just like me. You're not good with taking long standardized tests. But the sad part for me, and it was really frustrating, was I wasn't failing the test by 10, 20, 100 points. I was missing my passing grade by 2 to 3 points every time. And let me tell you, this was really irritating because I can remember back to when I was going out to get my learner's permit. I could not pass that computerized test. I think it took me about 4 or 5 times to actually get my learners, and that was frustrating as well. So taking the praxis test, I knew that if I did not pass this test within my 2 years of tenure at this job, then I was going to lose my job. I was not in control of my job security, for one, because I had to pass a test. Two, because I studied my tail off, but guess what? I still didn't pass the test. So I had to think outside the box, and I said, well, I can either continue to take this test and maybe pass it, maybe not. And then what? I'm out of a job. Well, let's be proactive. So I decided to apply for another job at I think it was like a Catholic school, a private school. And there they didn't require you to have a praxis test passed. So you can say that was the easy way out. But once again, we're living in a world where money makes the world go round. So I could not live or survive without some type of paycheck coming in the house. So I applied and I got the job. So I moved away from my first school before I lost the job, because guess what? Within the 2 years, I still didn't pass the test. I had taken it 3 times. The first time I failed it by 4 points. The second time I failed it by 3 points. And then the third time I failed it by 2 points. So at this point, I was depressed. I was sad because it wasn't like I wasn't trying, but I just couldn't pass this test. So then, you know what? I gave it up. I stopped thinking about the praxis test because now I'm at a private school where it's not mandatory and I can just enjoy teaching. But once again, life happens. So let's talk about the luxury of my first job and going into the second job. So my first job as a physical education teacher, there was me and my coworker, and I had 3 classes a day. They were about 90 minutes long, but my lunch break was 2 hours long. And I was also the cheerleading coach. It was the best experience ever. I loved all of my students. We had great times in class. One of the best things for me 10 years ago was students still wanted to participate in PE. So it wasn't like today where I have to bite and chew and fight my students just to get dressed, but I can literally come out my office. The students are dressed, sitting down in their squad lines, and they're ready to participate. So that made the day a lot easier as well. And then cheerleading practice, because that's one of my passions, was excellent. I got to create dances and routines, and we put on shows for our school, and we competed in competitions, and all of that circled around me made life great. But there was something greater. But because I couldn't pass this praxis test, I had to reroute. So I get to the private school. I'm thankful that my salary has only decreased by maybe $1,000. So I didn't get hit hard in the money situation. But let's add on the additional task I had to take on at this private school. So just to keep my salary within $1,000, not only did I have to teach physical education. Now, mind you, Gwen Park, I was just doing middle school. So I had 6th, 7th, 8th grade. Once I got to this private school, I had to teach ninth and 10th grade health and PE. I had to teach 6th and 7th grade PE. I had to do tennis, and this is just to keep my salary. So this is not what I was interested in. I had to teach tennis to middle school. I had to coach varsity soccer, varsity softball, middle school basketball. Like I was just busy beyond measure. And that's not what I wanted for my life. So at the first school, I could work, and if I stayed after work, it was for cheerleading practice, which is something that I loved, and I was able to enjoy it. But now I'm staying after work almost every day of the week just to hold on to my salary. And that was hurtful because, for one, I hated softball. But once again, because I couldn't pass that praxis test, I didn't have too many options. So I had to suck it up, and I had to do all those jobs. Softball games, 4, 5 hours during the week. But that was the path that I chose. I chose to be content being a 9 to 5 worker. So I had to do what I had to do. But guess what? Life happened again. So after about 2 years at this private school, I can say that I got close to the students. I had really good rapport with my coworkers and administration. But guess what? They weren't making enough money bringing in new students. So the school was about to be taken over and shut down. And guess what? Because I was one of the last people to get hired, of course, I'm one of the first people to get fired. But in the grace of God, this is how life changed for me. So for some reason, I was talking to my mom and I told myself, you know what? It's time for me to step up. It's time for me not only to pass this praxis test, but it's time for me to move forward and get a better job. But guess what? In my mind, a better job was just better pay. Not having the freedom to wake up and do what I want, not having the freedom to meet new people and experience new experiences and travel the world and share my experiences with others, but just to make more money doing the same thing. So I decided to apply for a PE position in Arlington, Virginia. Now, mind you, I didn't know that the school was about to be shut down, but in the midst of me applying for this job, the administration is preparing my letter to let me know that I can no longer work at this school. And I thought it was pretty funny because one of the administrators at this school I was very close with. I was close with the family. We used to hang out on the weekends. So the fact that as an adult and as I thought was my friend couldn't come and tell me, you know what, you might want to try options B or C because this one is about to run out, they didn't say anything. So luckily, in the midst of them creating this letter for me, not only did I apply for the job, the principal called me back within a week and I went on my interview. And guess what? A day later, I was hired. Now, this got exciting for me because not only did I beat the letter that was coming to get rid of me, but my salary increased by $15,000. Now, in this day and age, that might not seem like a lot, but you're talking about a freshly college grad in her third or fourth year of teaching, and now her salary is increasing $15,000. So that was something to shout about. So fast forward, I get the job in Arlington. Once again, another 2 years, and life happens. Now, the funny thing to me is, you know how you have people in your life, or maybe some of your friends have shared experiences that they've had with administration. The principal she couldn't stand me. And I was trying to figure it out because when you teach, you get observations, like I'm sure you do with any job. But being a PE teacher, the administration, they usually pop in your class 2 or 3 times a quarter. They take notes. They meet with you. They talk about the observation. They suggest what can change, and so on and so forth. My administrator, out of 2 years, came to the gymnasium one time, and she didn't come to observe me because she cared. She came to see if she could find something to let me go. So once again, job security. I had to leave the first job because I didn't pass the praxis. I had to leave the second job without even knowing that they were going to try to get rid of me. But I was able to secure myself another job, but look where I am now. Once again, I am not in control of my job, of my security, because this principal does not like me at all, and she's ready to get rid of me. So two great things happened with this story. Not only did she let me know that she was not renewing my contract, but guess what did happen? I finally passed the praxis, but it took 5 times. So we went 4 points to 3 points to 2 points, 2 points again, and then finally I passed it. So that was a plus, because passing the praxis allows you to have reciprocity in DC or Maryland. So once the principal told me that she wasn't renewing my contract, once again, I had to go back to the drawing board. But this time, life hit a tad bit harder. I went out on interviews. I applied to jobs, not just in Virginia, but in Maryland and DC. And guess what? For 2 entire years, I was unemployed. Not one school called me back or emailed me back and said, Miss Washington, we would like to hire you for this position. It didn't happen. And once again, as a college grad, just coming out of school, coming from 3 days out of graduation, having a job, to move into a new job within a week because you wanted to keep your job, and then from increasing your salary by 15,000 and then going to zero. Devastating. And I must honestly say that I thank my mom, because without good parents, who knows where I would have been. But she allowed me to stay with her until I got back on my feet. So that was a blessing. But for 2 entire years, I was unemployed. And I can't really say that at one time I was truly thinking about starting a business. What can I do to secure my future? What can I do that's going to grant me the financial freedom to live the life that I've dreamed about since I was a child? The light bulb still hadn't went off. So for 2 years, I was living off of unemployment. It was enough to pay my bills, but it wasn't enough for me to live. But because I hadn't taken that time to broaden my mindset and think outside the box, to think about the things that I could do now to secure my future later, I was stuck. I was stuck feeling sorry for myself. I was stuck in the what if stage. What if I would have got along with my principal? What if this was my fault? What if she just would have came on a better day when I taught a better lesson? What if this? What if that? How many of us have done that? How many of us are doing that right now? If you're at a point in your life and sometimes you go through some things and you're thinking to yourself, what if I just would have did this? Or what if I just would have took this step? I want you to comment in the box to the right, my left, and let me know. Have you been through that what if stage before? Because I've been there. And it was very detrimental to my success because it kept me stuck. So let's see, has anybody been in the what if stage? If you have, comment in the box, send it to me so we can talk about it. So unemployment, 2 years out of a job. And then one of my friends finally comes through and she says, you know what? I can get you a job working with me. But once again, how come I haven't learned my lesson? I still haven't learned my lesson because I'm going back into another teaching position. So now I'm moving into working with the state, working with the Department of State of Education, working at a detention center. And this was one of the most difficult jobs I've ever had, because not only was I not a believer in job security, but now you're talking about dealing with students that you can't control, as far as they're not going to always listen to me when I say sit down, or because they might be going through something mentally and emotionally, they're not going to hear anything I have to say. Matter of fact, I had one student who threw a box of crayons at me because she was upset, and she wasn't even upset at me. So I already knew that this job wasn't going to last because it was not the place for me to be. So think about all these transitions that I've gone through. Leaving a job because I didn't have a choice, leaving a job before the job left me, getting fired from a job or laid off from a job, however you want to look at it, and then being unemployed for 2 years. Then picking up a job that nobody would ever want. So guess what? I stayed for a year and I applied for another job in the state of Virginia, and I got it. I got another teaching job and my salary increased some more. But once again, I'm setting myself up for failure because I'm continuing to fight for the same content, the same comfortability. If this same track of teaching has left me in the dust almost 3 jobs ago, why would I fight for another teaching job? Now, mind you, I love working with kids, but what if I chose to work with them in my own type of environment where I could truly reach the kids that want to be reached? Those are the what ifs I should have been having back then. Those are the breakthroughs I should have been going through. But guess what? I was content with having a job, making money, and doing the regular things that all the rest of the regular people were doing in my life. Nobody was challenging me to do better. Ah, nice, Sky. Sky said, have I ever, haha, what if I can't pay my mortgage this month? Now, that's deep. And guess what? That's also a mindset shift that has to happen, because you don't want to think about what if you can't do something when God has given us all the creative talents to get everything done. What if you changed your what ifs? Instead of thinking, what if I can't pay my mortgage, or what if I can't pay my cell phone bill? How about you flip it to how can? How can I? How can we? If you're in a relationship or if you're married. How can I go out in the world today and make some money to pay this bill? Or how can I go out today in the world and meet 5 people and share my story and position myself for the financial freedom I've always wanted in my life? Those are the things that you have to do for yourself, because if you continue to ask what if and you continue to get down on yourself, you're not going to move forward. So think about this. What if you lost your job tomorrow? What if you went into work tomorrow and your boss said, you know what? You are no longer needed here. Or you know what? We had budget cuts, so we had to lay off 100 people and you were a part of that group. Or what if you're a private contractor and they say, you know what? We're not going to renew the contract this year because we found somebody better, or we found somebody cheaper. Then what do you do? Where do you go? How do you start over? These are things that you should already have processed, because guess what? It is time to set your mind free from that 9 to 5 mindset. Answer this question for me and comment below. What if you could choose your work hours? What if you could telework from home every day? What if you could gain knowledge and team members and financial freedom from the use of a laptop or an iPad? What if you were in total control of your financial freedom, your time freedom, and your job security? What if? What if you positioned yourself today to start walking in this right frame of mind to get to your goals faster than sitting around 30 and 40 and 50 years waiting on retirement, which probably won't even be around retirement Social Security by the time we get old enough to receive it? Because guess what? The economy is terrible. And what I'm learning in life each day that I read something positive, or I'm listening to a different audio, or I'm around my positive team, Power Quantum, I'm learning that there's more than enough money out here for all of us to succeed. But you've got to want it and you've got to go get it. Hi, nice, Daniel. Daniel said, flip it from the negative thinking to the positive. Nobody is going to change your future but yourself. And you know what? That is awesome, Dan, because that is the truth. Nobody can change your situation but you. So let's go back to this. Teaching all the way through 2 years unemployment. So I'm at my final destination. And let me tell you what's different about this job. As of right now, I have the job security, for one, because I have tenure. So that's a blessing. When you get tenure as a teacher, pretty much you would have to do something extremely bizarre to lose your job. But let me tell you why I have job security. Because I am walking away from my 9 to 5 in the next 3 to 6 months because I'm ready to live the life that I deserve to live. So there's no principal, there's no boss, there's no human resource staff member that's going to call me, email me, or send me a letter saying, Nico, your services are no longer needed. Because I'm going to walk out saying, thank you for what you've done for me, but it's time for me to live my life. It's time for me to go out into the world and impact people the way that I've been impacted by joining Power Quantum and being a part of this Project 1000. It's time for me to genuinely show love to those who are willing to fight for what they want and who are willing to do whatever it takes to get their freedom. And that's what life is about. Life is about fighting the forces of evil and reaching the level of freedom that you've always deserved. And the only way you're going to get to that level is you have to change your mindset. You have to change your circle of friends. If you've got people in your circle that are telling you, you know what, Nico, that's crazy. You can't take that job. You can't apply for that. You can't start a new business. You're not going to succeed. Guess what? Those people need to be on the back burner, because the only thing they're going to do is stop you from progressing. As we know, with any job, with any business, with anything we decide to pursue in life, it's going to be hard work. But the fruits of your labor will be so amazing. You'll see why it's so worth it. So you know what I'm telling you to do tonight? Step out the box. Stop being content with your 9 to 5. Sit down tonight, make a list of all the things you've dreamed about and you've wanted for a long time and you still haven't got. And you know why you haven't gotten them? Because you're working a 9 to 5. For some of you, it's because your salary doesn't pay enough. For some of you, it's because you're living paycheck to paycheck. For some of you, you might not even know when you're getting your next paycheck, or you might be in a job where your hours aren't secure. Even more reason why you should sit down and truly figure out what you want to do with your life so you can go after it and get it. Like I told you earlier, I love working with kids, but teaching is not going to get me the lifestyle that I want. And I know that once I'm able to fight off the forces of evil in my life, which right now the biggest force for me is debt. Now, I don't have credit card debt. I'm not saying that I never had it. I was one of those college students. Every time somebody said, sign up for a credit card, I was the one signing up. And my mother said, if your tail signs up for one more credit card, you're going to get out of this house. And she was dead serious. So I accumulated credit card debt in the past. But as you get older, you're supposed to get wiser. As you get older, your friend circle should change, where everybody's encouraging you and hoping to uplift you, to tell you, you know what? You're doing the right thing. Or I like the path that you're taking. I like the decisions that you're making, and I support you 100%. Up to about a year ago, I didn't have those type of people in my life. I didn't have people saying, Nico, you know what? I'm interested in what you're doing, or I support you. I've got your back. I had people saying, you can't start a business. You're not smart enough to do that. You only got to this level because I helped you. Oh boy, were they wrong. Because you know what? Some of those same people that made those sly remarks are doing much worse than what I'm doing. Because guess what? I'm going in the right direction. I know exactly what I want. I know exactly what it's going to take to get there. And guess what? I'm going to do it. Because I refuse to be 60 or 70 years old, still looking around for a paycheck just to take my first cruise or my first vacation. Or I'm not going to sit around and watch other people live their dreams while I'm stuck in this 9 to 5 that's draining the life out of me because I'm too scared to take a risk. What are you afraid of? What could happen if you took a risk? You might fall down, but God has given us the strength and the power to get back up. Sometimes you have to fall to stand taller than you were before and actually get what you want. You have to prepare yourself for failure. Most failures are great. Look at all the jobs that I've had. Do I consider myself a failure? No. But guess what? We're all learners. I'm still learning. And had I learned what I know now in Power Quantum, guess what? I would have been a winner a long time ago. But I was living the dream of someone else. And now I'm ready to live my own dream. And guess what? Once I start living my dream, it's going to help others do the same. I know that God did not want us to struggle. He didn't want us to hurt. He didn't want us to have to fend for our lives, living paycheck to paycheck, because somebody else told us what we were worth and we started to believe it. We are all children of God, which means we have the talent, the audacity, the tenacity, the strength, the power. Guess what? We have it all. All you have to do is tell yourself enough to believe it. And then once you believe it and you continue to have faith in those steps, guess what? Then you'll be able to achieve exactly what you want. Most of us failing is because guess what? We haven't trained our minds to think that we can actually achieve it. Now, when I first joined Power Quantum, and shout out to Cassandra and Paolo for helping me change my life dramatically, and it's been awesome. When I first talked to Cassandra on the telephone and she said, how much you want to earn a month? I mean, thinking about where I come from, I was probably like 3,000, 4,000. But what if you could earn $10,000 a month? What if you could earn $20,000 a month? What if you could be a 6-figure earner every month? Matter of fact, let's change the what if. You can be a 6-figure earner every month. But that depends on how hard you work. It depends on how bad you want it. It depends on what your why is. And it depends on if you truly believe that you deserve it. Up until about 2 months ago, I was treading lightly. I thought that I could achieve those things, but I didn't believe it. But here's the difference. My belief level now is all the roof. I know that I can achieve anything that I want to achieve. I know that I can go for any goal and it will happen as long as I stay on the path and I do exactly what I'm supposed to do. And that's why I invited you here tonight. Because I want you to change your mind and I want you to start thinking, you know what? Not what if, how can I? How can I earn my first $5,000 a month? How can I pay this credit card bill off so I can start giving back to my community? How can I pay off these student loan debts? That's one of mine, so that I can free up my money to help someone in need. How can I come out of these detrimental places I've been in my life so I can start to share my story so others can know that, guess what? You're not alone. We're all fighting forces of evil. But that's why it's important for us to link up and build together so we can all achieve our dreams. You know, one great thing I've learned at Power Quantum is not just about one person. It's about all of us. And I keep mentioning Power Quantum because that's a part of a team that I'm on. And when I tell you that I have met some of the most amazing people, not even in my own city, it's been uplifting. To have friends in New Zealand and New Jersey and North Carolina and Florida that I can see anytime I want, if I choose, that I can call, that I can message, that I can text. And I know that once I give out my rant or rave, or once I ask that question, nothing but love and attention and great advice is coming back as a reciprocal. Because I'm surrounded by people who want to see me succeed. And guess what? I want the same for them. So think about your surroundings. At your 9 to 5, are you sitting around with people that are always complaining and upset and never happy with what they have in their life? You need to move, and quickly. Because as long as you allow those other people to beat down your spirit, you're never going to change. Sometimes you have to be the change that you want to see in others. That's what I had to learn. I've got friends and associates now in my life that I'm slowly but surely pushing out. You know why? Because they're not believers. They don't believe that they can have better than what they have. And I cannot stand for that. One great thing that my friend Paolo taught me is, he said, once me and my wife start to achieve great things, in which they've already done, you guys are awesome. He said, I'm not hanging out with anybody that's not making less than $20,000 a month. Sounds far-fetched, but it's possible. And you know what? Those are the type of people that you should want to be around. Because if they're making that type of money a month, guess what? They've got the right mindset, they've got the right drive, they've got the knowledge, and they're going to help you gain the same, if not more. So let me share with you a little bit about Project 1000. Project 1000 is a group of us that have dreams and aspirations in which we know no 9 to 5 is going to allow us to creatively get there sooner, not later, and live the lives that we want to live. And the reason that I'm sharing Project 1000 with you right now is because guess what? If you made it to this call, then you're supposed to be a part of Project 1000. If you read the title of this webinar and it made you click on that registration link, it's because you understand that no 9 to 5 is going to allow you to live your dreams today the way you want. No 9 to 5 is going to give you the time freedom and the financial freedom to bless others, enjoy life, and move forward. No 9 to 5 is going to leave you in a space where you feel exuberated every day. You go in and you leave work, because guess what? 9 to 5s are stressful, even if you like what you do. I love working with kids. But sometimes I'm so tired that I can't even come home and do the things that I truly love, which is build my business and set my future up correctly, because I'm so drained and exhausted. Well, you know what? That has to change. I can't allow somebody else's dream to burden me. I want to wake up at 11 o'clock. I want to call my teammates. I want to have a great training session. I want to be able to call my members, call my teammates, encourage them, help them realize what they want and why it matters. And guess what? We're all going to go out and do whatever it takes to make sure we keep changing lives. That's what Project 1000 is about, changing lives. Now, how many of you can honestly say at your job, and some of you might be business owners, that you're around great people all the time that want to see you succeed? That you have a team of people circling you at all times telling you you can do it. I believe in you. You're going to knock this out. You deserve it. Your breakthrough is on its way. That's the type of team that I'm around in Project 1000. So a few things I want you to do tonight. If you have that 9 to 5 that you might like, you might love, but you know that it's not going to get you the future that you want no time soon, I want you to sit down and think of your why. Think of why it's important for you to step out that box and take a risk so you can start to live the life that you've always wanted to live. And when you think about that why, I want you to write it down. And I'm going to share my why with you right now. One of the main reasons I decided to join up with Power Quantum and to fight for the dreams that I've always wanted in my life is because, for one, my grandparents are getting older. I've watched my grandfather have 2 strokes, and it's been hard. But I love him so much because he's a fighter. And watching my grandmother support him and not complain is one of the most amazing relationships I've ever seen in my life. They've been married for 59 years, and there's nothing that that woman won't do for her husband. And because I continue to see him fight every day, when I see him, when I talk to him on the phone, guess what? I need to be around him because tomorrow is not promised. Think about those elders in your lives that you have those close connections to. What happens if they pass tomorrow and you weren't able to have that one phone conversation, or you weren't able to go over to their house and pick them up and take them out to lunch, or just spend some quality time with them because you were too busy working that 9 to 5? What if? The what ifs just keep coming. That's a part of my why. Another part of my why is to retire my mom. One of the strongest women I've known all my life, and to this day, she's still fighting. She's fighting her own forces of evil, but guess what? I see the change in her, and I see the transition happening. And what motivates me to help retire my mom is because she has fought long enough. When does she get the chance to wake up late, to sit around and do absolutely nothing if she chooses to? Because she's earned it. She's taking care of me. She's taking care of my sister. She takes care of her parents. She's very giving and loving. And guess what? It's time for the favor to be returned. So to be able to retire my mom so she can start doing some of those fun things that she's always wanted to do, it's on the list. Because I owe her my life. Another part of my why is to be a homeowner, to have the space and the freedom to live the way I want to live. I'm sure we're all had this problem or issue once before. Like, I've had partners and roommates in college. Now, these are people that I didn't know. So up until junior year, I didn't know who my roommate was going to be. But once we moved in, I had to deal with their flaws. I had to deal with their mess. And in some cases, it might have been vice versa. By junior year, I was able to choose my roommates. But once again, they're roommates. Who wants to be with the roommate for the rest of their lives unless you're in a relationship or you're married? Not me. And although I'm grateful for the opportunity to have this roof over my head, especially when I was unemployed with my mom, it's time to spread my wings. It's time to wake up in my own house and do what I want. Turn the radio up as loud as I want. Maybe not wash clothes, throw my clothes around the house. Granted, I'm not messy, but what if? What if I had that opportunity? And guess what I said? How can I create that opportunity? And because I joined forces with Power Quantum and Project 1000, that opportunity is happening right in front of my eyes. I am renovating my house as we speak because I told myself no more. I'm not going to sit around and keep wishing and wanting for things that I have the abilities to go out and get. So from here on out, I'm going out and getting it. I believe that in the next 60 to 90 days, I am going to make well over $50,000, which is not only going to furnish my house and pay for the work that's being done to my house, but I will be able to pay off my mom's bills, and that weight will be lifted off her shoulders. She deserves it because some of that debt that she's accrued has been to help her family out. She shouldn't be punished for that. You shouldn't be punished for being a giver. You shouldn't be punished for wanting to help somebody out. But that's another reason why you need to figure out your why and you need to go after it. You deserve to be freed of the forces of evil. You shouldn't have to wake up wondering, what if I could pay my mortgage? What if my car cuts off today because you couldn't afford a new battery? What if I walk into my 9 to 5 and I lose my job? What if I'm laid off? What if we are furloughed again? And I know some of you understand that because guess what? Government workers, which used to be the top job to get because it had the most job security, guess what? They're right along with the rest of us. They don't know if their jobs are secure today, tomorrow, next month, or next year. So how do you go out and change that so you're in total control of your future? You've got to take risks. You can't be content anymore because contentment is not going to free you. You've got to want more out of life. If not for yourself, for your family. Maybe for your children. Maybe for your spouse. Maybe for your best friend. Or maybe for that group of students you always see who lack the basic necessities because their parents can't afford it. If you can't find a reason to live out your dreams, then guess what? Do it for somebody else because your story is important. Not only is it important to me, but it's important to those who haven't heard it yet. Because once you start telling your story, guess what? You're going to change somebody's life. They're going to thank you because those words that you share are the exact words that they needed to hear. Or because you were able to step out the box, take that risk, and fight for the things that you wanted. You were able to free up your finances and your time and go help somebody else out. That's what life is about. It's about helping others. You can't be selfish and hold on to your story. You can't be selfish and not take risk. In this day and age, we don't have the opportunity to be selfish. We have gifts, we have talents, and we have a story that needs to be shared with the world. So once again, Project 1000 is about grouping at minimum 1,000 people together that have the mindset, the drive, the whatever it takes mentality to free themselves from the forces of evil, to not only live the life that they want to live, but to be able to touch others and help others gain the same. If you think that you deserve to be a part of Project 1000, if you think that you have the mentality, the drive, the necessities to help someone else free themselves, then you know what? Comment in the box. Because I need to know who's serious. I need to know who's ready to go to the next level, not only in business, but in life. Because being content is not what God wanted us to do. We have talents and gifts that we need to share, and we need to help others do the same. So if you're ready to be a part of Project 1000, I want you to comment in the box and say Project 1000, Project 1000, Project 1000. That lets me know that you're serious. That lets me know that you're ready to take your life to the next level. Not for me. You're doing it for you because you deserve to live the life that you've always wanted. Aren't you ready to take that trip? Aren't you tired of saving up $100 here, $100 there to eventually take the trip next year? Aren't you tired of living someone else's dreams? Aren't you tired of being tired? Because I am. So my declaration to you tonight is this. If you feel it in your heart and you believe that you have the tenacity and the drive and the whatever it takes mentality to start fighting the forces of evil in your life and start achieving the goals that you have, to start living the life that you want, I want to work with you. I want us to team up so we can set the right plan in place for you so you can start living your dreams today. I don't want you to stay at that 9 to 5 and wait 30 or 40 or 50 years to start enjoying life, because tomorrow isn't promised. We need to start enjoying life today. We need to start sharing our stories today. We need to stop helping others today. So this is what we're going to do. If you are serious about changing your life, about stop being content and stepping out the box, this is what's going to happen. To your right, my left, something's going to pop up on your screen. And if you look at it, it's telling you, if you're ready to secure your future, you're going to click that button and get started. For only $7, that's right, you heard me, $7, you're going to be able to test drive this system that's not only going to help you reach the heights that you've always wanted to reach, but it's going to help you do the same for others. This system helped me. And I believe in you. I believe in your future. I believe in your dreams. So we've got about 3 more minutes before the get started sign goes down. But I wanted to share this with you. Today I was reading on the internet on Forbes.com, and it said that the average tenure for a worker is under 5 years. So let's think about this, because guess what's appearing? The ugly what ifs. What if you've been at your job for 4 years already? These are statistics. That means you could be a statistic next year. Because on average, nobody holds their current job for longer than 5 years. How scary could that be? That you might not have your job next year? Or how powerful could it be that you understand that job security only happens in your mind? And what I mean by that is you take the time to choose life over that 9 to 5. You take the time to choose helping others over that 9 to 5. You choose to spend more time with your family and friends over that 9 to 5. You choose to travel and share your story to help others have their breakthroughs over that 9 to 5. This is what life is about. I'm pumped up. I'm excited. I am wanting you all to get into Project 1000, because this is not just about changing your life. It's about you having the power to change others. And we all deserve to succeed. I deserve it. You deserve it. Your friends deserve it. Your coworkers who have no clue deserve it. That person that you're going to meet next week and share your story that's going to get that breakthrough deserves it. But you've got to take a risk. So once again, click the button, get started today, so you can start to live the dreams that you've always wanted to live. Because it's your time. So once again, if you have the belief, the tenacity, the whatever it takes mentality, I want you to click that button. Because it's time for us to move forward. It's time for us to put a plan in place for you that's going to set you up on a clean, clear path to reach your dreams. And as long as you're willing to put in the work that you put in every day, that 9 to 5, guess what? You're going to reach your dreams. And it's not going to take you 30 or 40 or 50 years to get there. My plan is to be a millionaire, if not a billionaire, by 35. And guess what? Time is ticking. Because I'll be 34 in August. But guess what? I will make it. Because there's no other option. So I'm going to leave you with this quote. It's from Ralph Emerson. It says, "Nothing is at last sacred but the integrity of your own mind. What you think depicts how you act. What you think depicts what you're going to do with your life. What you think depicts how you're going to respond to someone. What you think depicts your success." So if you've got the wrong thoughts, or if your mindset isn't just quite right, it's time to get there. It's time to change your mindset, and it's time to change your life. I want to thank you all for getting on tonight. This has been a pleasure for me. Once again, if you still need some more time to think about this, which you shouldn't, because clicking that button is the right thing to do. But friend request me on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram, and we can start talking about setting up your future, because your future is not only important to you, but it's important to me. It's important to me that you start to live the dreams that you've always wanted to live. And it's important to me that you gain the knowledge and the strength to go out and help others do the same. Project 1000, it's real, it's growing, and I don't want you to miss your spot because you don't want to take that risk. I don't want you to miss your spot because you're scared of failing. I don't want you to miss your spot because you're so content with that 9 to 5 that you don't even realize the opportunity and the blessings that you're leaving on the table. So take the risk. Take that one step. Click that button. And I promise you, the ride for the rest of your life is going to be amazing. I love you guys. This is Miss Rise and Grind. I will see you next Wednesday, same time, same place. And I will post the title of our next webinar by Friday. I love you guys. Good night.